right. Thank you so much for downloading today's episode of the Red Pill Investor. My name's Carl Krenzel, here to help you with your sales skills, here to help you sell more homes in less time, keep you well informed, give you all the tips and tricks, the things I think you need to know here to make it and be successful in today's world. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the Red Pill Investor. If you're joining me here from Sell More Homes Now on YouTube, welcome. Regardless of how you found this podcast, I would highly encourage you to go ahead and subscribe, like, and rate. Definitely do that because I'm trying to put out as much content as I can. You know how it is. I mean, life gets in the way. I'm a practicing broker here in the real estate game here in Tucson, Arizona. If you have any referrals for the Tucson area, certainly feel free to give me a call or DM me. I'm happy to help you in any way I can. But today, what I've got for you is a collection of stories that I've found, along with some calls that I've made today. You know, as many of you have been following along in the podcast, you know that I've been experimenting a little bit with a couple different formats. You know, I mean, I'll be honest with you, primarily the biggest problem that I've been having is the fact that people tend to think that I talk a little too loud. You know, the truth is I'm a little bit deaf. I mean, I'm not that good. My hearing is not so good. So sometimes I have to speak up a little bit, and sometimes that can get a little annoying for people. So, you know, if you'll bear with me, I'll try to go ahead and keep the topic on point today. I'll definitely try and give you some information that'll be helpful to you, as well as interject with our conversation some calls that I made today that I think maybe will help you if you're a practicing real estate agent or a real estate investor. So basically the plan for today's podcast, what you're going to hear is me comment on a couple different stories that I found in the news that I think are going to be super important to you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and intersperse that with some calls that I made this morning. That way you won't have to listen to the voicemails and the wrong numbers. You can actually hear the good stuff, the real good calls, and that way it'll be of value to you. And if you think this is of value, well then would you do me a favor? Share this with somebody in your office. Share this with another realtor. Share it with another wholesaler or an investor or another real estate investor, somebody who you think would be very blessed by this. Somebody you think would be helped by it. If you can think of that one person, you know, that one person that comes to mind, this person needs to know this, well then do me a favor. Stop what you're doing, put this on their timeline, share it with them however you do it. And I would certainly be appreciative. So let's today join into the first story that I wanted to cover. This one I think is going to be a very good story to set the tone for the rest of the podcast. You know, this one comes to us from Real Trends. I would highly recommend you go check out their website at realtrends.com. But basically this post today this is actually dated July 12th. The title of this is Redfin and OpenDoor partner in Phoenix and Atlanta. Now this article is written by Tony Lapp, and again this was dated July 12th, 2019 over there on realtrends.com. Basically it says Redfin, OpenDoor partner in Phoenix and Atlanta, a new partnership between a tech-powered brokerage Redfin and iBuyer OpenDoor will bring a collaboration of sorts in Phoenix and Atlanta. Buyers in those markets can now request an OpenDoor offer through Redfin's site and mobile apps. Hello. Oh boy, what does that tell you? You know, if you're a realtor who invests, or a wholesaler, or a real estate investor, guess what? This just got a lot more interesting. Because now, okay, the consumer in Phoenix and Atlanta, all right, can go on Redfin's site or their mobile apps and request, get this, an OpenDoor offer. And Guess what happens? It says, I'll read a little bit more in the article. It says, the partnership with OpenDoor enables home sellers to compare listing their home on the open market with a Redfin agent to receive an instant offer from the iBuyer and skip the listing process altogether. The partnership is currently live in the Phoenix and Atlanta markets, and the companies will evaluate expanding to additional markets. Well, okay, so what does this tell you? I mean, if you're a real estate agent listening to this podcast, and you've been listening to this podcast for a while, then you've been hearing me tell you this for the last several years. Why is this called the Red Pill Investor Podcast? Well, it's because this mindset is that you are also the buyer. I mean, you're a buyer. You're not an agent. You're not a wholesaler. You're not a real estate investor. You're a buyer. And as soon as you get that in your head, okay, then the greater versatility you'll have in the transaction. And here's what's happening. Okay, I've been telling you for years, over 500 episodes, I've been telling you to develop your sales skills so you can talk to people, because sometimes, guess what? They don't want to list their home. If they could take a pill, drink a potion, pop a magic wand, break a stick, whatever it took to get rid of you and just get to the buyer, they'd do it. I'm going to continue in the article. It says, quote, every homeowner should have a choice between putting a home on the market via a Redfin agent or taking an instant cash offer, said Redfin CEO Glenn Kelman. Quote, no matter how fast Redfin now expands, there will always be homes we can't buy because it's hard to match our capabilities and capital with the market's up and downs. Just as traditional agents are our partner for brokered sales our own agents can't handle, OpenDoor is our partner for giving customers reliable, competitive offers on homes we ourselves can't buy. Okay. Now think this through. Right now, this is in Phoenix and Atlanta, and if this works out well, it's coming to a town near you. Redfin already offers some of this service in their Redfin Now. But obviously they can't buy everything. And by partnering with OpenDoor, this gives them an opportunity to expand that. Eric Wu said, he's the founder and the CEO of OpenDoor. He says he sees the partnership as, quote, bringing together the reach of the most visited online brokerage with the scale of the largest iBuyers service to deliver a comprehensive service for more customers. Oh boy. Can you begin to see the winds of change? This is so critically important why you want to share this article with somebody you know. This is why you want to share this podcast with somebody you love, because this is going to affect the way things are done. Is it going to be the fact that Redfin and OpenDoor are collaborating together and that's going to be a game changer for all eternity in real estate? No. But what it does mean is that the market itself is beginning to find solutions to the problems within the market. What are some of the problems with the market? Well, the hangups with the market, we know. One of them, in an article we'll go over in a few minutes, is about commission. Another one is time. Another one is hassle and the paperwork. Okay, listen, sellers do not like paying commissions. Okay, now I'm not telling you anything you don't know. If you're a real estate agent, that's like saying water is wet. We all understand that that's the fact. But what may not necessarily be so obvious is that now, with the institution of technology, there are a lot more ways that people can start to go ahead and solve these problems that in the past they couldn't really do anything about. They couldn't do anything about it before because there was an MLS and there was a real estate agent and that was that. But now you got iBuyers cooperating with companies who are willing to get rid of you as a problem. how the collaboration works from a consumer standpoint. Phoenix and Atlanta homeowners who wish to visit Redfin's website or mobile apps will be able to request an instant offer from OpenDoor as part of their home sale inquiry. When the Redfin agent meets with the homeowner, the agent will advise on the home selling process, what the home is likely worth on the open market, and will present OpenDoor's offer. The homeowner can choose to sell to OpenDoor to maximize convenience and control, or work with a quote, full-service Redfin agent to list the home on an open market for a 1.5% listing fee. If homeowners do not want to meet with the Redfin agent, they can choose to receive only the OpenDoor offer, and Redfin will receive a referral fee for each customer who decides to sell to OpenDoor. Okay, now, that's how it kind of works. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner go on the website. If they go on the website of Redfin or one of their mobile apps, they can request an instant offer. And if they want to take that offer right then and there and not see any agent, then boom shakalaka, it's a done deal. The referral agent, Redfin will get a referral fee for it, for each person who decides to sell to OpenDoor, which is typical. I mean, you could expect a referral fee to be somewhere in there. I mean, if you've been an agent for any amount of time, you know there's a referral fee for something. Then, if they choose not to take the offer right then and there, then they can meet with a Redfin agent. Now, this becomes a listing opportunity for the Redfin agent. The Redfin agent is going to come out and say, look, this is what it's worth in the open market if you're willing to take the time. Now, quick aside, what is the days on market where you live right now? I'm curious. Not too fast? Not too long? Yeah. So that's what they got to do. They got to say, well, in Phoenix and Atlanta in particular, those markets are on fire. They're literally on fire. So the Redfin agent is going to come up and say, hey, guess what? You could list the property and sell it for XYZ in XYZ time, or you could take this OpenDoor offer right now. What do you think? The homeowner now has a choice to make. This could be a listing opportunity, or this could be a wholesale opportunity. Or an investment opportunity. Is this not what I've been talking about for the last 5 years? I don't even know how long I've been talking about this. The necessity for agents to get into this mode, to get into this operation where you're starting to offer this as part of your service. Listen, I've been telling you that you needed to make this change in your business, that you needed to add this as a service to your business as a realtor for a long, long time. I've written a book about it. What is it? Real Estate Investing for Realtors, right? It's available on my website, theredpillinvestor.com. You could buy it today for $25. I wrote a book about this saying why it is you needed to implement this in your business. And the reason why was very clear, was because the market was changing. Now look, this is different than what you might have heard in the past. This is different than what you might have thought about other things that are going to, quote unquote, get rid of realtors. I'm not saying this is going to get rid of realtors, but what I'm saying is this is going to change the way the business is done. And unless you're in a luxury market, okay, if you're in the first-time home buyer market or investor crowd type market, then if you're not offering this type of service to your customer, then I think personally, you're doing your customer a disservice, because your customer clearly wants this service. You're not providing it to them, so they're going to go to your competitor like OpenDoor. And then is it really any wonder when you try to go talk to them as a COI call, a center of influence call, and you're asking them for business, you say, oh yeah, we sold our home. Yeah, we sold it to OpenDoor and Redfin and blah, 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 blah. When you get that call, or when you talk to your customer and you hear that, you have nobody to blame but yourself because you heard it here first. And that is all I got to say about that.
Oh, hi, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm better than I deserve. Thanks. I'm not sure if I have the right person. I apologize. I'm looking for the owners of a property here in Tucson at 5802 31st Street. Does that ring a bell?
What's up? How can I help you?
Yeah, no problem. My name's Carl again. It's owned by Zestimate Investment. I'm a broker here in town who buys property. I was just calling to see if they would be interested in selling that property. Would they?
I do believe so.
I'm guessing that you are Zestimate Investment. I'm just guessing. I'm taking a wild guess.
Who do you work with, Carl?
I'm working for myself. I work, my license actually is hung over at Sotheby's International. But I'm looking to buy this on my own behalf. And I'm calling to see if perhaps you'd be considering selling it. Would you?
I would, but there's currently a tenant in it.
Oh, I see. Okay, well that's cool. No worries. Are they on a month-to-month kind of thing, or what's the status of them?
I'm actually trying to work it out with them, but I'm a broker here in Tucson as well.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, no joke. Where are you at?
In Vail.
No, I mean what brokerage?
It's management.
Oh, right on. Okay, cool. All right. So this is your personal property. You got some tenants in there, and you're trying to work it out. Maybe they'll buy it from you. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what I'm hoping. They requested a year's lease, and I do want to sell it. And I extended it for 3 months, and I'm giving them until November to either get qualified or figure out something in the start of next year. But I do want to go ahead and get rid of that one. I specialize in property management. I don't have a sales agent. I just started my company about a year ago. So I am interested in, possibly exploring some avenues.
Okay.
And
well, I'll tell you what. You said that right now you've given them 3 months to kind of hash it out, and then you'll figure it out kind of from then. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and if they want to buy it, then I'll obviously do the internal, I know
Sure.
MLS is expiring. I don't use it with property management, so I think I'm going to just do away with the association, honestly, and so that's why I'm thinking it would be wise to get an agent, but at the same time, it's wise to do it yourself, too, so I'm kind of in between, right? You are contacting me at a perfect time for whatever reason, so I'll keep your number.
Well, I believe the Lord directs our steps, and that's how I tend to think we get to the right place at the right time. So, I am curious. However, do you happen to know offhand what kind of condition it's in?
Yeah, we just fully tiled it and everything. It's just, it doesn't have an AC. I need to do some back work to the house, like the T111 needs to be replaced. The windows I'm not going to replace. It just is what it is. It's an older home. But other than that, it's fully functional. It's been remodeled. It's got tile and it's block wall. I mean, it's a good little house. It's a 4-2. So, but yeah, I was just actually on us doing comps. I know there's one on the street for sale right now, and I was going through the active contingents. It's a very active zip code, and so I really want to, but
okay, well then, why don't I give you a call back here in a month or so, and we'll see how things kind of play out with your tenants, and we can go from there. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Thanks for your call.
And again, my name was Carl. I'm sorry, I never did catch your name.
My name's Crystal.
All right, Crystal. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and then I'll just catch up with you in a month or so, and we'll see how things play out. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Thanks for your call.
All right. You have a great day. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take care. Bye-bye.
The next article comes to us again from Real Trends over there. Tony Lapp She wrote this July 11th, 2019, says commissions are leading consumer complaint of home buying process. Well, imagine that. I don't think I've ever heard that one before. I don't think I've ever heard that one before. In 23 years of doing this business, I don't think I've ever heard somebody complain about a commission. Well, let's see what Tony wrote about it. She said, ShelterZoom, a blockchain-powered real estate platform, surveyed more than 1,000 U.S. consumers to determine the leading reasons for dissatisfaction. Real estate commissions top the list. Well, that's not surprising, to be quite honest with you. I think everybody would agree with that. If you're a real estate agent, I think you've probably heard this at least once or twice, but there's a couple other things they wrote down. Said perhaps the survey's least surprising finding was the widespread unhappiness with the home buying process, said ShelterZoom co-founder Alan, and he'll just have to go without his Alan Shahi, I believe his name is. I'm sorry for murdering your name there, Alan. Said when asked what is the biggest thing wrong with the process, respondents hit on pain points that anyone who's ever purchased a home has likely experienced. Now listen up, fellas and ladies. If you're a realtor out there who invests in property, if you're an investor and you're trying to get that person to decide to sell to you as opposed to list with a real estate agent, these are the things you want to start marketing to, right? Listen up. Here's their pain points. There's too much paperwork, 39%. 39% of respondents out of 1,000 people said that there was just too much paperwork. 36% said the process took too long. Another 28% said it was too confusing. 21% that said that there was just too many people involved. And 17% said that you had to give away too much information. So think about this. What do people hate about a real estate transaction? Okay, well, let's see. They hate paying a commission. That's number one. They hate the paperwork that's involved. That's number two. They hate the time that it takes. 3. That it's too confusing. There's too many questions. There's number 4. There's too many people. That's number 5. And that you have to give away too much information. That's 6. Those are the 6 problems that your consumer is facing right now when they're trying to decide, should I pick up the phone to call a realtor to list my home, or should I pick up the phone to call an investor to buy my home, like OfferPad or somebody like that, or should I go on my app or my computer? You know, those are the things that are swimming around in their head. When asked about the specific concerns about the home buying process, respondents' top grievance was their belief that were commissions too high, 42%. The home buying process. Hold on a second. The home buying process. Home buying process. We're not talking about the home seller. We're not talking about the list agent. We're not talking about the lister. We're talking about the home selling agent, the selling agent, the buyer's agent. When they did a survey of those same 1,000 people about the home buying process, those same people said their felt was the commissions were too high, that there was a lack of transparency, conflict of interest, lack of communication. Why would a buyer start thinking about their commissions are too high? Probably because the agent just showed them a couple homes, and then they wrote a contract, and then they got paid $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 or more. Maybe, I don't know. Call me crazy. But this issue of lack of transparency, conflict of interest, and lack of communication that they also feel kind of rolls all together with this, this belief that their commissions are too high. Why is it that your buyers, your sellers, have a shared feeling that they have too much paperwork, it's too confusing, it's a lack of transparency. Why do they feel that way? Is it because you just put paperwork in front of them and tell them to sign? Or do you just actually go through the paperwork with them and say, hey, listen, this is what this means, this is what that means, this is what this means. I'm a big believer, and I know I'm old-fashioned, and I get it that I'm old. Yeah, I get it. Okay, I'm sorry. But it's my belief that if you go out and you tell a customer, an investor, and you say, listen, this is what this contract means, this is where we're going to go, and this is where it's going to mean, and what we're going to do, and this is next, and we tend to make assumptions about the process that the home buyer, the home seller, they know what's going on. Just because you do it every day doesn't mean they do. The biggest thing that I can take away from this report here is you need to take a lot of time with your customer. You need to take a lot of effort with your customer to share with them what's going on. If you tell them what's going on and they understand it, it makes sense to them, I think what you'll discover is fewer fall throughs and a lot more happier customers. When asked about the length of time the home buying process takes, the respondents had some strong opinions. In order of magnitude, listen to this. If you're trying to discover content marketing that you can write, or you can make podcasts about, or you can make videos about so you can share it with your consumer, if you're trying to figure out the different types of content that you could make, well, then listen to this. These are what the respondents are saying about the home buying process. First, it takes a long time to get a mortgage approved. A long time. How long? Long time. 43.8% people felt that it took a long time to get a mortgage approved. Listen, that's ripe for disruption right there. Blockchain technology, boy, I'm telling you, if you could close a transaction in a day or an hour, oh my gosh. Oh, that would change everybody's life. Could you imagine what the world would be like if you could close a transaction in an hour? Yeah, your buyer comes in, and they like the house, and they go do an inspection, and they like it, and the home inspector, they've got a situation where you can get them out there quick, and all you really got to do is just get the mortgage, get the money figured out, get the title figured out. And then all that process, let's say, takes less than a week. Could you imagine if you could start to finish a transaction in less than 7 days and have it be a conventional or FHA transaction, not be something cash? Oh my gosh. Whew. How about this one? Point number 2. Contracts take a long time to sign and complete. That's another one coming. Smart contracts are on the way. If you're not familiar with smart contracts are just as on the frontier as blockchain and Bitcoin, and those sorts of technologies are on the horizon, and they're on the horizon for a reason. Why? Because contracts take a long time to sign and complete. 35% of the people said that. Why did they say that? Now, think this through. Back in 1996, when I was initially licensed, all right, if you wanted to get a contract signed, you had to get the contract, type it up or handwrite it. You had to press hard. It was because cheap carbon was there. We didn't, you had copiers, but it was just a lot easier. Then what you did is you physically got in your car and you drove over to the listing agent's property and met the listing agent and the homeowner there, and you presented the offer personally to the seller. And then we got fax machines. MLS went on the computer. And that was fast. And now 2019, 23 years later, I just got done e-signing a contract and getting it digitally signed and sending back to me all in the space of an hour or two, just because I emailed it. And now, even that seems to be too long. Why? Mostly because of the negotiation that goes on. You sign it, you got to get the agent's got to prepare it, then they got to send it to the buyer, then the buyer's got to sign it, send it back to the agent, then the agent's got to send it to the other agent, then that agent's got to send it to the seller, then the seller's got to review it, and then maybe sign it, and then send it back to the other agent, then the agent's got to send it back to the first agent, then the agent's got to send it to escrow. It's just a whole bunch of everywhere going everywhere. Which leads us to point number 3. There are too many people involved. Too many people. How in the world can a homeowner be expected to remember all the parties to a transaction? You got the buyer's agent. You got the buyer. You got the buyer's attorney, perhaps. The home inspector. Then you go to escrow, the escrow officer's assistant, title officer. And then you got the tax person, the termite guy. I mean, you got all kinds of people, the roof guy. I mean, you got all kinds of people in and around and looking at the house. It's invasive. How about this one? Buyers purposefully delay the sale so they can move or close on another house 25% of the time. Buyers purposefully delay the sale so they can move or close on another house 25% of the time. That's something that people have a frustration about. In this day of YouTube, Google, education, things you can look up on the internet, podcasts, all that, I don't understand why this is still a problem. I mean, if you're a real estate agent who also invests in property and you happen to be listening to this podcast and you're faced with this issue where a buyer says, gosh, I need to sell my home first before I buy another home. Well, would to God you'd know how to handle that. I just wish that you would know how to handle that. If you don't know how to handle that, well, then listen to some of the podcasts that I've been going into in the past and how I go over that. There's a very simple way. You just, obviously you close on contingencies and there's a way to do it and how you present it to the customer so it makes sense to them. But if you don't know how to do it, then take the time to learn to how to handle this, because this is a simple objection you shouldn't even need to handle. How about this one? The process is too manual. Too manual. There's just too much back and forth and texting and calling and this and that and all the other things. That's such a big problem for home buyers. When they looked at it, they said, well, gosh, what would improve this process for you? Now, remember, the people who are running this whole survey, ShelterZoom, remember, they're a, quote, blockchain-powered real estate platform. So what do you think that means? Right? That means this is a little bit of a skewed type of question, perhaps. I mean, certainly the questions that they're going to ask are going to be designed to point out certain flaws within the current system. But it doesn't mean that they aren't problems nonetheless. Think this through. Look at this one. It says that buyers, when asked about the length of the home buying process, the respondents had some strong opinions. We told them that. And then it said that most industry observers agree that there's room for improvement on the home buying process. More than 40% of the respondents said that if any, the ability to ensure that their offer was presented to the seller and track every step of the offer, 48.1% of the respondents said that would be very helpful to them. So they know that their offer was presented to the seller and that they know exactly where it is in the process. The ability, they wrote down, to see how many offers were being made on the home. 46.1% said that they felt that would be helpful. How about this one? The ability to be notified every time a change is made by the seller, broker, or agent, 42.8%. These people are saying things that are of critical importance to them. When you're asking 1,000 people about a real estate issue and you say, what is some of the biggest problems you feel home buying or whatever, some of the things you feel we could improve to make this better. You say, you know what, gosh, you know what, you could tell me about every offer that gets sent to the seller that you know about. You could tell me about my offer when I send it to the seller, about every single step of the way. I mean, where's it at now? Who's got it? And where does it go from here? Is it an escrow? What's the next step? I mean, all that. The ability to be notified every time a change is being made by the seller, the broker, or the agent. All these things, over 40% of the respondents are saying, these are things we want to know. Gosh, please tell us. That's what they're saying. Aren't these things that a real estate agent who's competent should know to do? Aren't these the things you should be calling them on Friday, every Friday, and telling them about? If you're a real estate agent and you've got listings, don't you have an agreement with your seller that you're going to contact them every week and let them know, hey, this is where we're at. This is where we're going to go. This is the next step. If you're representing buyers, aren't you talking to them on a regular basis every couple days? And then once you put a contract in, don't you have a system in place to let them know, okay, here's where it's at. The offer's here. The offer's at escrow. Now we're going to go into the home inspection. Now we're going to go to this. And now we're going to do that. Now we're waiting for the appraisal. I mean, if you tell them in the beginning of what's going on and what to expect, well, then guess what? They're going to love you. And they won't be calling these OpenDoors and Redfins and all this other stuff. Because why? Because you're the person that's able to give them that service. Look at this one. If you're a wholesaler, don't worry about it. I haven't forgotten about you. If you're a real estate investor, you're not a realtor. You just want to buy homes. You just want to sell homes. You want to list and hold. I mean, you want to buy them and rent them, right? Well, listen to this. Here's some good news. Same study says leaving money on the table. Most respondents said that the home selling process is so unpleasant that they would leave money on the table to avoid as much of it as possible. When asked if they would be willing to lower the price of their home if it meant not having to deal with costs associated with home buying. Now, what I know sometimes I say things kind of fast and maybe you didn't hear me, so I'm going to repeat that again so you can hear about what I'm going to tell you, okay? When asked if they would be willing to lower the price of their home if it meant not having to deal with the costs associated with the home buying, things like commissions, lawyers, home repairs, closing costs, other hurdles. More than 3/4, 76.2% of respondents said yes. 76.2% out of 1,000 people. Would you be willing to leave money on the table if it meant that you didn't have to deal with paying closing costs and commissions and doing repairs? And I mean, if you could just sell it as is for a lower price, would you? 76% said yes, we would do it because the home selling process is so unpleasant. Listen, guys, there is a culture change afoot. Okay, you've got to get this clear. There is a culture change afoot. Things are not the way they used to be. Okay, when your parents grew up and your grandparents grew up and my parents, our grandparents and parents, when they were coming up, okay, people, they would go out and they'd buy a house. You know how it is. Maybe you got that guy or gal in your family. They worked at the plant. You know, they maybe there's a granddad, right? Maybe they worked at the plant for 30 years, got a watch, stayed at the same house. Maybe they just moved to a retirement community now in Florida somewhere. Who knows? I don't know. But when you think about it, you probably know something. Maybe your dad, mom lived in that same place forever, right? And as a matter of fact, they were stuck to that job. They stayed there, right? And then when they did have to sell, well, gosh, you know, they just called, you know, Billy Joe Jim Bob or Susie Q or whoever from the banana real estate down the street, and they came over, listed the property, and sold it. You know, maybe there was a brand realtor that they saw or saw a commercial or whatever. And that was how they did real estate back then. You know, the good old days before real estate was in the internet. Now what do you have? Well, it's not mom and dad's real estate anymore. No, now you've got everybody in the real estate game. You know, you got Groupons where you can go get your real estate license. You got, you know, all kinds of people getting their license who you know, have variable levels of professionalism and questionable levels of reliability. Is it really any wonder when you get a society that is as plugged in as we are on the internet and can communicate to the level that we can, that you'd have Facebook groups that are designed about, you know, how they hate people or hate this or hate that or hate the other thing. You know, there's so much hate in the world right now, okay, that it inflates everything in your mind, inflates everything in your customer's mind. Things that ordinarily might not have aggravated you 6 months ago, maybe 6 years ago, you know, infuriate you now. You know, things that 10 years ago you wouldn't have thought about. Nowadays, oh my gosh, it's unthinkable. I mean, as a side, I can't even believe it. They got locks on ice cream nowadays. What? I mean, really? And here's the thing, just because you would have never imagined a day where they would have locks on ice cream to prevent people from licking the ice cream and putting it back, you couldn't have imagined that 6 months ago. I can remember a time when you could buy Tylenol without a seal on it. You know, you just open up the bottle. No, you know, it might have some cotton in there, but it didn't have no seals. No, gosh, no. No, why? Why did they start putting seal? Does anybody know in this podcast, if you're old enough, give me a like and a shout out for being old enough to remember a time when Tylenol didn't have a seal. If you know, and trust me, I'm going to get to the point here in a second why this makes sense and why this is relevant. I'm going to tell you in a second. If you know why there was a time before they had a seal on a Tylenol jar, then you know why people are willing to leave money on the table today. Here's the connection. Back in the day, okay, you'd buy Tylenol and you could trust it. It would be Tylenol. And then one day, somebody crazy got into the market, took Tylenol bottles and filled them, you know, covered them up with some cyanide and put them right back on the shelves. And then some people died. I don't remember how many people, but it was significant enough to make people very, very scared. And nobody would buy Tylenol. And Tylenol stock dropped to the floor. And there was a huge scale. It was all in the news. And nobody would buy Tylenol simply for fear of cyanide. Then Tylenol said, you know what? Don't even fret. We got a sealed cap thing now. Boom. Seal proof. Nobody's gonna tamper proof is I think the word they use now. Tamper proof. That wasn't always that way. And just like your ice cream is in a locked situation today because some nut job decided to go ahead and start licking ice cream and screwing it up for the rest of us, is precisely the reason why sellers today are are so sick and tired of this unpleasant process that they're willing to leave money on the table to just get rid of it, to be done with it. That's why. When you're asking them how long and what's the price and what's the best time, how long does it take to sell a property? They asked them, they said, well, look, tell us what you think. When it comes to listings, how long would you be willing to wait to lower the price if their home's not selling? Here's what they said. 3.5% said we'll wait a week. Okay. Well, that means that obviously they don't have to sell in a week, so they're not that motivated. 19.7% said 1 month. Right? 1 month. 19.7. 33% said 3 months. That's how long they'd be willing to wait before they did a price reduction. 3 months. 33%. And 17% said 5 months. While a surprising 12% said they would not lower the price of their home. Certainly makes you wonder who they were talking to, right? But when you think about it, that certainly gives you an indication. I mean, well over 50% of the people, that they were talking to felt anywhere from 1 to 5 months is exactly the length of time that they need to be on the market. Listen, guys, that in particular tells you a couple things. People are not wanting to take the time on the market. They're willing to leave money on the table if that's what it takes to get rid of the problem. And they usually don't think of this selling process as anything longer than 3 to 5 months. So keep that in mind when you're talking to people.
Hello.
Hi there, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Who's this?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Carl Krenzel. I was looking for the Lincoln president over there in Colorado. Have I got the right place?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, my name is Carl again. I'm a broker here in town who buys homes. I was actually just calling to see if you'd ever considered selling that home. Have you?
Well, I have.
Okay. No
Not
problem.
recently.
No problem. Well, the only reason why I'm asking is because I'm actually from that area. I went to school not far from there, and so I buy property, and I'm certainly looking to buy something in that area. You said that you thought about it, but not recently. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you were to move, where do you think you'd go next? Would you stay here in town, or would you take off, or where would you go?
I'm not sure.
Huh. Okay. All right. And I'm wondering, you mentioned that you'd thought about it, but you're not sure now. I'm curious, at what price do you suppose you would become a seller?
No, I'm really not up to discussing this right now.
Okay, no
Got some
problem.
medical problems, so.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. All right, well, I hope you feel better. When would be a better time for me to call you back and follow up with you about it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, is this Harold?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, I hope you feel better. It sounds like you're in a lot of pain.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'll be praying for you. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. You get some water in you. Okay. Drink some water.
For our final story today, once again, we turn to Real Trends, and once again, we turn to Tony Lapp. She wrote an article on June 27th called Zillow Announces Improvements to its Zestimate. Now, I got to be honest with you. I was immediately caught like a moth to the flame, as it were, to the headline on this particular one. Let me go ahead and read this to you. It says, Zillow announces improvements to its Zestimate. It says, new home valuation model sees unique home features and incorporates greater real-time data. Zillow just announced refinements to its Zestimate to incorporate real-time data and computer vision to identify and value improvements to an individual home, calling it, quote, the most sophisticated and accurate home valuation tool. Oh boy. Oh boy. Ooh, I gotta tell you, when I saw this one, I thought to myself, boy, I gotta share this one with you. Since it's launched in 2006, Zestimates have helped inform consumers by using facts from public records to estimate a home's value. However, real estate professionals also have observed that Zestimates could be misleading. Quote, with today's update, it can now, in a sense, see in photographs features that humans would instantly understand, such as curb appeal and natural light, said a press release from Zillow. Quote, the new Zestimate uses neural networks and computer vision to distinguish between high and low-end finishes and incorporate the value of features like updated bathroom fixtures, fireplaces, and remodeled kitchens. The Zestimate also now uses a real-time data from for-sale homes, including a list price and how long a home's been on the market. Boy, I'll tell you, I got to tell you, whenever I see something like this, this just goes right back to what we've been talking about on the podcast. Your value as a realtor, your value as an investor, your value as a wholesaler. If you're counting, especially if you're a realtor who invests, if you're counting on the MLS as your value proposition, well, then you can clearly see that, Zestimate, Zillow, Redfin, OpenDoor, all those folks have eyes on your commission. When you look at the previous segment that we talked about, the consumer's frustrations with a transaction, we mentioned that a commission was right there on top of that. And when we're trying to figure out what is your value as a practitioner in the future, I'm constantly telling you your value proposition is your advice, your evaluation, and your guidance in particular circumstances. I'm not necessarily saying that you need to guide people and walk them through the process hand in hand like a psychologist or something. No, but I do think that there's value to be had in what you bring to this circumstance. You bring context, right? I don't necessarily think that it's a computer that's going to be able to see the distinguishment between high-end and low-end finishments all that well. It says the new version incorporates ideas from a 2-year data science competition that awarded a $1 million prize. Zillow says that for homes listed for sale, the error rate is now less than 2%, meaning half of its estimates fall within 2% of the home's eventual sales price. Okay, let me read that to you again. It says, Zillow says that for homes listed for sale, the error rate is now less than 2%, meaning half of all Zestimates fall within 2% of the home's eventual sales price. Duh. I mean, you reduce the price long enough, it's going to sell, and that's going to usually be within 2 to 4% of the asking price, regardless of where you are. It's not that your Zestimate is accurate, it's just the market. That's why I always tell agents, you can't say that you sold the home for, blah, blah, blah more, or you blah, blah, blah sold it. No, the market did that. You can't say that you did it, because if you're going to say that you did it, then you need to take responsibility for it when it eventually crashes. And it will. I'll go on. It says, agents and homeowners can provide photos for the Zestimate to evaluate. Homeowners can claim their home on Zillow to edit, add, or remove photos at any time. It used to be back in the day, we were talking in a previous segment about how back in the day, the MLS wasn't on the internet, that you had to go to the seller's house to get the signatures, things of that nature. Nowadays, homeowners can upload photographs, claim their own home, tell everybody about it on Zillow, update it, say everything they need to know, include floor plans and everything, and have it right there in Zillow's hands. I mean, could you possibly design a better model where homeowners would give you data, just give you data, endless and endless and endless amounts of data, all you can store, photographs, fixtures, fireplaces, kitchens, all that. You have that stored up in your data. As a company, think about it from Zillow's perspective. They've got the active and the active data from the MLS. The realtors gave it to them. Okay, they've got the sold data from the counties that provide it. Now, true, counties aren't always that good about providing timely data. It's always going to be accurate, but will it be timely? Right? That's the key. And as the market computerizes more and more, public data becomes that sold data is not that hard to obtain. And then, if you add up this issue right here, where Zillow, a national company, is saying, hey, give us all the data you have. Tell us all about your home. We'll give you an accurate value of it. Don't worry. And we got this brand new $1 million program that we've just established. It's going to give you a 2% value of your home. All you got to do is send us your pictures. What I'm getting you to understand is that if you think that the multiple listing service has a key or a lock on all this, it doesn't. The sellers are giving the data up themselves. The last bastion of multiple listing service is quite simply, data about sold properties, concessions, and cooperation. That's it. What else does the multiple listing service provide? Cooperation, sold data, and data about concessions. Times on the market, perhaps. Oh, sure, you can look at, comparable properties in the zip code and in that area, but, it's not going to be all that long before there's a company that's going to be able to provide that same data even down to the subdivision. I'm going to read a little bit more to it. It says, while the Zestimate can't interpret home features by name the way a human would, the image recognition model can classify patterns in the pixels of photographs and correlate them to home value, said Zillow's press release. For example, while the human eye sees tile or granite countertops, the Zestimate identifies two different pixel patterns. Stan Humphreys, he's the chief analytics officer and creator of Zestimate, says that the new Zestimate version was inspired by the way the human brain interprets information. Neural networks, pattern recognition, data from sellers, AI. Look at that. The way the human brain interprets information. What is that? Artificial intelligence, right? It's a big leap forward because it means that the Zestimate can now understand not just a home's facts and figures, but its quality and curb appeal, said Humphreys. By training neural networks using the millions of home photos on Zillow, the Zestimate now values the features people are most proud of, like new granite countertops, a remodeled bathroom, or a meticulously landscaped backyard. Listen, guys, this is exactly why these people are selling data and not selling homes. Because if you sold a home, you would know that it is not a granite countertop, a remodeled bathroom, or a meticulously landscaped backyard that sells a home. It's not those things at all. Listen, if you don't believe me, try installing on your next remodel Okay, try installing brand new granite countertops, completely remodeling the bathroom, landscape every square inch of that backyard, and then overprice it. Overprice it by 15, 20%. And then tell me how the sale goes. You could advertise it anywhere you choose. You could advertise it on the Wall Street Journal. You could take a full page ad in USA Today. You could run end-roll, B-roll ads on YouTube. You could get any radio personality you chose to hold a live and direct radio show from it. But I promise you, it is never going to sell for more than a penny more than it's worth. That's why, when you start looking at all these computerized neural networks, interpreting millions of, what are they doing? They're replacing what you should be doing. In the first story, we talked about OpenDoor and Redfin giving up data and offers like I told you you should have been doing in the first place. Right? That's a feature I told you should do because that's something that your customers want. In the second story, we talked about how commissions and lack of transparency and all these other things are causing problems in the real estate market that your customers have a problem with. And now, in this story, we see Zestimate coming in saying, yeah, we got a neural network that's going to analyze photographs and figure out what granite countertops are relative to the days on market. And we've got all this other data and we're going to spit out a number. Then all of a sudden your home's going to be worth that because, statistically speaking, you're going to get within 2% of this half the time. Are you kidding me? Is that what real estate's got to now? Is that really what real estate agents are all about? Is that what real estate brokers are all about? Is that the life you went to real estate school to live? I imagine if you're a real estate investor or a wholesaler, you're probably getting quite a laugh out of this. At the misfortune, perhaps, of your realtor brothers. I can certainly appreciate the humor. However, this is stuff that's still geared for you too, because when you think about it as a wholesaler or a real estate investor who's unlicensed, what makes you think you're any different than a real estate agent? Real estate agents getting clapped up working with other companies and OpenDoor and some of these iBuyer type properties, or maybe you're on a large team that operates like an iBuyer. I could have swore you said you got into this so you could have freedom. Yet it seems freedom is the very first thing you give up. Why? Well, many times because you fail to go ahead and do the very basic thing, which is communicate with your customer. Why? Well, that's easy. We've had it far too good for far too long in this country. Oh yeah, we've had it far too good for far too long. All these years, the market's gone up and up and up without any kind of correction. What makes you think this is going to keep up going like this forever? I mean, there's going to be a day of reckoning. Oh, sure. If you read the articles, throughout 2020, there's going to be less inventory. The prices are still going to be high. The market's still going to be good. Okay, maybe that's the case. Maybe it will be that way. But there aren't a whole lot of people out there who are feeling that their affordability is the same. The market has gone up so much. Many places, the price of a home has, the appreciation of a home has gone up 3 times more than the actual person's wages in the area. So it's great to have home values go up because of shortage. But if your home sellers who live there can't sell because they can't find a place to buy, they can't afford it. And think about it. The home seller, is the one that you want to deal with. Because if you sell his home, he, she, they are going to have equity and they're going to be able to be in a position to purchase another home. If you're a realtor, that's a great position to be in. Get a couple sales out of one transaction. If on the other hand, you're dealing with first-time home buyers and they have a lot of student loan debt and the price of a first-time home is outrageously high, and anytime they get within 25 feet of a brand new listing that just came on the market that's in their price range, there's already 17 offers on it within the first 3 hours. How hard are you going to work to get that? This is the critical reason why you want to get out there and prospect every single day and prospect to people to make the opportunities. As the expireds in your market starts to decrease, as the for sale by owners in your market start to sell, then it might be more difficult for you to find leads. And if you're a brand new buyer, a brand new a real estate investor, a brand new realtor, it's hard for you to find leads. It's hard for you to find business. Now you're out there spending every dime you have on Facebook and Instagram, but you're not finding any sellers. I would definitely recommend you check out the Red X. As you know, been using the Red X system. That's what you've been hearing the calls from, right? Some of these people have been cold calls. Some of these people have been just listed, just sold. Some of these people have been for sale by owner. Definitely all of them have been fun to talk to. Here's another example of another property you can find.
Hello.
Hi, this
Hello.
is Carl Pencil. Hi, my name's Carl. I was looking for the owner of a home over there, for sale by owner over there on home. Is this?
Yes, I can help you. I can help you.
Okay, good. Okay, good deal. Well, my name is Carl Krenzel. I'm a broker over here at Sotheby's International. Is that property still available?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good deal. Now, I'm not sure if I've got the right person or not, but are you folks willing to pay some form of commission on that if I was to bring a buyer by who'd pay a price and terms that you'd be okay with?
Yes, possibly. It's an estate, so there's other siblings involved, so we would have to ask. But yes, we would work with you. Sure.
Okay. And briefly, if you don't mind me asking, you mentioned and I just noticed by rolling down my screen right here that it was owned by an estate. I buy properties myself as well, but it says that it's in a beautiful townhome. Would you mind telling me a little bit about the condition? I mean, if you've got a minute, I mean, I'd be personally interested in buying it.
We're fixed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's a charming little townhome. It's 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's within walking distance of the Oro Valley Country Club, and it has its own little club with a pool and jacuzzi. Has a decent sized backyard, and it has an eat-in kitchen. Like I said, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's in great shape. It is dated, but other than that, not a thing wrong that we know of. We haven't lived there we never have lived there, but my mother-in-law has had it rented the last, I think, 8 or 9 years.
Oh, so God bless your heart. Well, if you don't mind me asking about how much was it renting for?
I think $1,300 a month.
That's pretty good. Okay, good deal. All right. Well, when do you suppose would be a good time for me to come out and take a quick peek at it?
Well, I could do sometime tomorrow or today, later on today, like around 4:30.
Well, I could do tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon would be fine. Would tomorrow afternoon work?
Yeah, like around, say 3:30, 4. Is that okay?
Yeah, 3:30. You want to make it 4? 4 sounds fine.
4 o'clock tomorrow. That sounds great. I will meet you there.
Well, then
and
I will
it's 61
pencil it down. Yes, ma'am. I've got it right there. Okay, I will see you then. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Carl.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
In closing, guys, let me just go ahead and say how excited I am that you've been listening to the podcast and how happy I am that you've been sharing it on your social networks, leaving all the kind messages, the direct messages, the emails that I've been getting. I just want to say thank you very much for everything that you've been doing to share the podcast. It means a lot to me, but more importantly, it's important to me because I want you to share with other people things that just aren't commonly shared. I mean, when you think about it, who taught you anything when you first got into business? I mean, I don't know about you, but when I first got in, They didn't teach me anything, right? Here's your desk, here's your phone book, you're on your own. And that was my training session, right? Now, if you've been blessed, if you've been lucky, if you've been given the gift of people who've been willing to sit down, take their time, share their thoughts, share their opinions, and give you something that you feel that has been of value, well then look, do me a favor, do them a favor, and share it with them in their social network so that they might hear the same thing you're hearing and be profited from as well. That way they might learn and get some profit out of it, get something good for their community. Guys, that's how we make this all work. And until next time, I hope you have a powerful sales day. Bye-bye.